have to dig deeper to pay about $36 more per year. There are also $8 million in cuts, but biggest thing in this is CMS is not receiving any cuts. If you have questions or want to weigh in on this proposed budget, you have a chance to do so at 6 o'clock tonight at the Government Center. You'd have to sign up first in order to speak.
And one of York County's most popular parks is officially back open. Over the past year, Ebenezer Park added 66 paved campsites, renovated the restrooms and showers, and improved lake access and the picnic shelter areas. As of today, the campgrounds are officially open for overnight stays. Park officials say the campsite is already booked through Memorial Day weekend. Some people may be getting an early start to the weekend, but there's at least one crash that you're working on now, Majestic.
One, definitely seeing a lot of backups there, especially if you live around the Lake Wiley area and you're heading up towards perhaps uptown. We do have that ongoing accident at Tryon Street and Youngblood Road, so make sure you allow for a little bit of extra drive time so that you're not late this morning. Chris?
Okay, here's that Guy Roofing 70 forecast. I don't think I turned my mic back on. I apologize. I changed the batteries to have transparency. All right, we have temperatures in the lower 80s to the upper 80s. Today and tomorrow just feel absolutely amazing. It's really first and second place for the picks of the week. Saturday, we start to build in more clouds. Great for the Charlotte FC match. Now, the Coca-Cola 600. I feel like there's always a chance for storms, so just wanted to stay on brand. There's a slight chance for maybe a pop-up shower or a thunderstorm. It doesn't really look to be a major washout if that does happen. More clouds for sure, and of course that's one that goes through the evening and through the overnight, so just keep that in mind. That is going to be a potential. Now for your Monday, your Memorial Day, you're going to have a chance for some rain in the morning. Then I think we dry out, and then it's really the late afternoon heading into the evening. We could have some blossoming showers and thunderstorms. That could continue Monday night heading into Tuesday.
All right, thanks, Chris.
And of course, a reminder, the news does not stop here.
We're live all day with breaking news, weather, and traffic on WCNC Plus. Join us there. Streaming live on WCNC Plus at 7 a.m. Thanks for joining us. I'm Lisa Washington.
And I'm Megan Bragg in for Ben this morning. Of course, we're on WCNC Plus. We are streaming live. And Chris, you know what? It's going to be a beautiful day.
It's going to be a great day. We're all going to take advantage of it, right?
Yes,
Okay.
we are.
Do you know what? Right on time. Yes, everyone says at the right time. I didn't prep you for that, so that's on me. We have a beautiful Carolina blue sky, as we like to call it. Oh, God, I love this. By the way, the reason why we call it Carolina blues is literally because of the Tar Heels. That's why we call it Carolina blue. And the Monroe camera showing that we do have a little bit of haze off in the distance. That's really picking up on some distant cloud cover that'll be on the way. Oh, this happened yesterday. I was showing High Brighton Mountain. Okay, thank you. Sorry. I got ahead of myself. High Brighton Mountain. Good to see you. Gorgeous shot up here around Lenore. And then our visibilities are actually picture perfect. Every time you have a 10, that means it's a perfect 10. We did have some dense fog really close to Raleigh and areas north. That has now really receded. 60 degrees. This looks to be our low for the morning. Our sunrise time officially was at 6:16, and you probably hear me say this ad nauseum, but our typical low, most typical patterns, is going to be hit right after the sun rises, sometimes up to an hour after, just depending. 59 degrees right around Lincoln, and then 56 degrees in Gastonia. So this is the bottom. Temperatures will come up here for the next update that you see, but this is still significantly cooler. Whenever you have a big dry air mass like what we have overhead, this is going to allow it to feel even chillier. So we should be around 60 degrees each and every morning this time in May, but we haven't been there recently. So this is about a 5 to 10 degree drop down, even a 12 degree difference compared to the temperature 24 hours ago for you in Monroe. See those clouds off towards the west? That means we are going to pick up more cloud cover through the course of this morning. Here's what it looks like. Futurecast quickly passing a shower through the morning, and then I think by the time we get to the mid to late afternoon, we'll start to see more of a mostly sunny scenario. On and off clouds also possible later on tonight. I think we could see a little bit of rain down towards the south. Slightest chance here in South Carolina. A few more clouds during your Friday afternoon. It looks to be picture perfect. We've been in the lower 80s Monday, Tuesday. Yesterday we hit the mid 80s, which started off humid and then started feeling better throughout the day. Today is a non-humid 82, still feeling warm either side of 80, right up to and around Catawba County and close to Hickory, and then close to 70 degrees for the high country around Watauga County. Big story about today, the winds. Going to notice that it's significantly breezier than yesterday. Wind gusts up as high as 30 to 35 miles per hour. I think the peak winds anywhere between about 4 and 6 p.m. and then after that, once the temperatures cool down, typically the breeze will settle down with it. Still gusty here and there through the overnight, especially up into the high country, and then we'll see things simmer down for your Friday. I love this. Whenever you have a dew point that's below 50, it feels divine, absolutely gorgeous. Once you get to the 50s, you're starting to feel it a little bit, but not really. It's really not until you get to that 60 degree point that's where you start popping up the oranges. That's where you really notice the difference, and we will have that significant change by the end of your Sunday, especially for Memorial Day, and that also comes with a rain chance. 57 degrees. That's right around the sunrise time tomorrow. The coldest morning of the week, Saturday morning. Some areas of the mountains could pop down into the upper 30s. The rest of the area stretching across the 40s, and then we're right back to the lower 60s come Monday. Tomorrow, 78 degrees. The winds are a little bit lighter. We pop up a mostly sunny sky throughout the afternoon. That's why I made it the pick of the week. However, today is going to be really comparable as far as that is concerned. Gotta love it. Upper 70s, a true spring day to end the week. But for your Memorial Day weekend, we do have some changes day by day. I'm going to go into those in detail, showing you exactly what the forecast looks like for your Saturday, Sunday, and the big change in Memorial Day. But first, we have to get your first look here on WCNC Plus for a morning commute.
All right, good Thursday morning, everyone. Been keeping a close eye on this accident here. It's on Lucia Riverbend Highway. You can see it there backed up with Highway 16. So if you are typically traveling southbound, this is where we do have stop and go congestion well north of Charlotte, but that'll allow for add on to about 5 to 10 minutes for your drive time. So allow for a little extra time to get to where you need to be. A couple of accidents you'll want to know about. Still watching this one carefully. It's a lane that's now blocked because of the crash. It's between Eastway Drive and Sugar Creek Road. In addition to that, this one has a lot of congestion. Look at all that red. That is extended out towards Tryon Street and Youngblood Road. So if you're coming in from the Lake Wiley area, that could be a little bit of a headache for you. A stalled vehicle is making some slowdowns here. It's at Central Ave and Redmond Road. In addition to that, there's a look at some of those drive times for your Thursday morning commute. If you're coming in from Gastonia, it's going to take you just over 40 minutes to get you there, and about 45 if you're coming in from Waxhaw.
7:05 now. Happening today, a chance to speak up before your taxes go up. The proposed Mecklenburg County budget would raise property taxes while slashing funds for programs many families rely on. WCNC Charlotte's Richard Devane has details on tonight's public hearing and how you can weigh in.
Yeah, good morning, guys. Good Thursday morning, everyone. If you're concerned about the fact that there's a proposed property tax increase or the cuts that'll be made, you have a chance to tell county commissioners face to face later today. Big changes coming to your wallet and your community services as Mecklenburg County leaders have unveiled that proposed budget, which includes a property tax increase and cuts to nearly every department. Facing a $29 million deficit, the county says following slow sales growth after the pandemic, it's forced some tough choices. The proposed 0.9 cents tax increase means the owner of a medium-priced home, about $377,000, would pay about $36 more per year. And there are nearly $8 million in cuts coming to nonprofits and community service grants, with the county manager saying that funding decisions were based on performance and cost efficiency. But there is some good news. Education is a top priority. Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools would receive all $667 million it requested, including a $28 million boost for teachers' salaries and $10 million for pre-K classrooms, as the county looks to tighten its belt and deal with this deficit.
This is a challenging year for Mecklenburg County. And this is probably going to be sustained for a while. I mean, we're seeing sales tax increases of less than 3% a year, and that was always, it has been the revenue source that we've used to really fund a lot of the growth that we needed to.
But we want to make sure that we are being fiscally responsible. We want to make sure that we are preparing for conditions that are unseen. Well, the community has repeatedly told us their number one priority is education. So whether you look at MEC Pre-K, whether you're looking at K-12 or CPCC, that's the number one priority.
And again, if you want to speak, you go to the Government Center down on 4th Street. You sign up before 6 o'clock, and then you'll get your chance to tell county leaders how you feel about this budget. We're right here in Charlotte. This is Richard Devane. We'll send it back to you.
New developments amid a tumultuous time for several Charlotte city leaders.
We now know members of the Fraternal Order of Police will begin having their say in a vote of no confidence against Chief CMPD Johnny Jennings next week. Starting Monday, members will be able to make their vote on FOP Lodge online. Voting will close on June 3rd. The move follows an alleged closed-door settlement between the city and chief, reportedly tied to a dispute sparked by former council member Tark Bakari, who officers who wanted to wear outer carrier vests.
A tragic story out of Washington, D.C. this morning, where 2 Israeli embassy staffers are dead after a shooting outside the Jewish Museum. As NBC's Alice Barr explains, those victims were set to get engaged in just over a week.
This morning, a tragedy for the Jewish community and the country, striking in the heart of the nation's capital, where 2 Israeli embassy staff members were shot and killed overnight while leaving an event at the Capitol Jewish Museum.
The suspect chanted, "Free, free Palestine," while in custody.
The suspect, 30-year-old Elias Rodriguez, remains in custody as investigators look deeper into the motive.
Prior to the shooting, the suspect was observed pacing back and forth outside of the museum. He approached a group of 4 people, produced a handgun, and opened fire.
Police say he then went into the museum, was arrested, and pointed out where he left the gun. Israel's ambassador to the U.S. spoke about the victims, a young couple, Sarah Milgram and Yaron Lashinsky.
The young man purchased a ring this week with the intention of proposing to his girlfriend next week in Jerusalem. They were a beautiful couple.
President Trump posting these horrible D.C. killings based obviously on anti-Semitism must end now. Hatred and radicalism have no place in the USA. The U.S. Attorney General promising justice.
We'll be doing everything in our power to keep all citizens safe. especially tonight, our Jewish community.
As the ambassador rallied against hate and fear.
We're going to overcome moral depravity of people who think that they're going to achieve political gains through murder.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu condemned the killings and said he'd ordered Israeli missions around the world to increase security. Condolences are pouring in from Capitol Hill, across the country, and around the world as the director of the FBI said its Joint Terrorism Task Force has joined in the investigation. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Right now on Capitol Hill, lawmakers are set to vote on President Trump's big, beautiful bill that covers a wide range of issues, including tax cuts, energy policies, regulatory reforms, and border security. Lawmakers are sounding the alarm over proposed cuts that could impact SNAP benefits. Representatives say the changes could shift over $300 million in costs to South Carolina taxpayers. It would impact 11% of the state's population. They also oppose new SNAP work requirements, calling them outrageous, especially for single parents. Meantime, last night, the Senate passed legislation creating a tax deduction worth up to $25,000 on cash tips workers are required to report to employers. The idea has had bipartisan support and was a talking point for both presidential campaigns last year. The bill now heads to the House.
Football fans across the nation are mourning the loss of Jim Irsay, longtime owner of the Indianapolis Colts. The team says the 65-year-old died peacefully in his sleep yesterday. While no cause of death was given, Irsay battled health issues in recent years. His father bought the Baltimore Colts in 1972. Jim later took over as the team's owner and chief executive when his father died in 1997. Panthers owners David and Nicole Tepper shared a statement saying in part, Jim Irsay was a passionate and influential figure across the NFL. His dedication to championing important causes reflected his compassion and leadership beyond the field. They also sent their condolences to his daughters, their families, friends, and the Colts organization.
In just hours, the Lenore daycare worker is expected to appear in court. 29-year-old Alexandra Coffey is charged with involuntary manslaughter after a 16-month-old was found unresponsive at the Creative Beginnings daycare on Monday. Documents show the facility has been ordered to close and their license is now suspended. State records also show the daycare was cited last year for failing to check sleeping positions and gaps in CPR certification for staff. We will be in that courtroom later this morning for that hearing.
7:12 now. A Rock Hill organization is seeking solutions to the affordable housing crisis in a new way. They're doing it by making some homes permanently affordable. The Housing Development Corporation of Rock Hill has finished 2 duplex homes designed specifically for people transitioning out of homelessness. Right now, rent for the duplex is $850, and with the promise of keeping it below fair market rent.
The rents are going up, prices of things are going up. To have a unit that is going to remain affordable for people is very important, that they can stay in this community.
The organization says it's also looking to provide affordable homes for those who may not be homeless, but are also struggling to make ends meet.
What should have been a joyful day for several couples became a nightmare for many who were looking to tie the knot.
A local wedding photographer is now at the center of a multi-state scandal that spans from Massachusetts to the Carolinas, leaving many couples asking, where's the money? WCNC Charlotte's Tradisha Wooders spoke with brides and grooms left empty-handed.
Well, couples I spoke to say they trusted one person to capture one of the biggest moments of their lives. But instead of memories, they say they were left with lies. No photos, no refunds, and no answers. One by one, the stories poured in.
We were a victim of a horrible scam.
Different brides.
She blocked my number.
Different states.
I was just irritated. I was like, you know what? I'm done.
But same heartbreak. They all hired the same woman, Courtney Smith, a photographer they believed would capture the most important moments of their lives. A dress, a kiss, a forever, frozen in time. But instead, she vanished.
Because now we don't have a photographer. She has her deposit, and we're kind of starting over at this point.
Now, dozens of couples from various states speaking up to make sure it ends here.
Clearly, she's been doing it to more than one person. Who hasn't spoken up? Who hasn't said anything? The floodgates literally opened. The amount of people that reached out to me was unbelievable.
I also spoke with another photographer who says Smith reached out last minute, asking her to step in and shoot a wedding she couldn't make. She never received full pay for her work.
I was just like, what the heck is happening? What I learned that she does is she'll do a couple weddings under the current name, but then she'll switch it.
I also found various websites with some linking to Charlotte, others in Albemarle. I tried contacting multiple numbers, but none of them worked. I then reached out to the Stanley County Sheriff's Office. They confirmed she did live in the area, reporting at least 11 pending incidents related to wedding scams, the broken promises dating back to 2021.
She's actually a real person that just is irresponsible and just is taking people's money.
Heartbroken couples are now warning others to dig deeper before trusting someone with their money and their memories.
Take who you choose to take your pictures incredibly seriously. You cannot get these memories back, and I would not wish this upon anybody.
The Stanley County Sheriff's Office says the case has now been handed over to the North Carolina SBI. If there's any additional victims out there, they're encouraging you to file a report. Back to you.
All right, we want to show you something. We're going to be talking about some supercells because we saw a supercell over the weekend, and a supercell is just a rotating thunderstorm. This is the way that it kind of works out. You have a rear flank downdraft, which can also cause some gusty winds, sometimes wind damage, but it often has a big anvil, sometimes those pouch-like Mattis clouds, and even a shelf cloud that can come beforehand. These are the strongest of thunderstorms. They don't always produce a tornado, but we want to show you that's what the structure is. We saw one here close to home. Check this out. This is also known as sometimes the mothership. If we can go to that image, you can actually see the rain shaft in what is called the wall cloud for this image here. Just wow, right? So that is a classic supercell right there. Sometimes the light shines through it just right. That's where it can sometimes have that green hue. Now, this is the type of setup that most likely would produce a tornado, but that doesn't always happen. If the tornado rotation doesn't reach the ground, that doesn't happen. But also, if you look really closely to the right side of your screen, that is a positive lightning strike that is striking to the ground. That also is the type of lightning that's 10 times stronger, lasts 10 times longer, and can be up to 10 times louder as well. And those are the ones that truly kill people. So these are not a nice storm, to say the least. And then you also have the striations, those little lines in the clouds here. So what you're looking at is a wall cloud. Oftentimes a tornado can develop from that, and usually 100% of the time, these will produce some sort of hail. So there's, again, we had a supercell over the weekend. Now, oftentimes, like the Rock Hill storm that happened last April, where there was $5 million causing damage, that was a supercell. It was just the hail core that was associated with it. Again, the tornado rotation didn't reach the ground. Not talking about any severe weather anytime soon. That was just a quick little weather IQ. Today's forecast, either side of 80 degrees, depending where you are, the upper 70s for the northern part of our viewing area from Iredell County over to Burke County, and then the lower to the mid 80s, depending where you are, Charlotte to Rock Hill, 82, 83 in Lancaster, and I think parts of Chesterfield County will just touch on that 85-degree point. Overnight tonight, it's going to be cooler than what we had this morning. We're at 60 degrees right now, but it'll actually feel a lot cooler. 57 degrees with that drier air. You're going to notice the difference compared to the last few days. And then the upper 70s also going to be very comfortable over the next couple as well. So really picture perfect forecast. But as I mentioned, I was going to take a deeper dive into exactly what we're going to see this weekend. Now, by tomorrow, I'm going to have an extended futurecast that we'll be able to see our rain chances in detail through your Sunday. And that's going to be a better look at what could happen to the Coca-Cola 600. Luckily, we're not looking at a widespread rain event that it could wash out or delay, cancel the race for the time being. At most, it might be just a brief delay for a quick little downpour. It's really Monday that's the big question mark. As of right now, it looks like we have developing rain Sunday night to Monday morning. We take a break, and then redeveloping showers and thunderstorms pulse back into the area by the end of your Memorial Day. So look at our futurecast for your Saturday. Oh, it's great. You have mostly sunny to partly cloudy skies, more clouds to end the day. This is a kind of precursor for what's coming. But then here's Sunday morning, seeing a little chance for rain. I think really each night we'll have a chance for rain, as we're going to have these little short waves that jump into the area. And a short wave is just literally a burst of showers, oftentimes associated with the low pressure system. And then we have a little uptick in our moisture content as well for Monday heading into Tuesday. That's why we see our rain chances really jump from Monday to Tuesday. I think it's really Monday night to Tuesday morning is where most of the rain falls. It's all associated with this system. So as this starts to move overhead, once that low is directly over the Carolinas, that's where we have the best best chance for hours of rain compared to just spotty showers to scattered showers. Once this system clears, I think that we're going to be rain-free for next Wednesday. That's where temperatures start coming up again, upper 70s to around 80 degrees a week from today. Majestic?
All right, good Thursday morning, everyone. It is gorgeous outside. We have a whole lot of sunshine out there, so grab those sunglasses before you head out the door. All right, let's take a look at what you need to know as you are heading out, starting your Thursday. Not seeing any major impacts there. That's I-77 near the Uptown area, but we do have some activity that is ongoing. I want to take you out to Highway 49. There's a crash that's inbound. It's between South Tryon Street and Shopton Road. It's blocking the right lane, and right now we have very heavy delays that are forming. So there's the accident, but look at all those delays going over the lake and now extending right there into Lake Wylie. So what we're seeing is really just slow moving congestion. You'll want to allow for a little extra drive time this morning if your commute does take you inbound on Highway 49. Another accident here, it's on Highway 16. Stop and go traffic there with that ongoing incident. Let's take you into the Uptown area just east of it. Right now there is a lane that's blocked. It's between Eastway Drive and Sugar Creek Road. Seeing mainly oranges indicating just slow moving traffic. And then we do have that stalled vehicle. It's on Central Ave and Redmond Road. Not seeing major impacts with that, but you might encounter it if you typically drive that way. Those drive times right now, they're starting to add up. About 52 minutes if you're coming into Charlotte from Waxhaw, about 54 from Salisbury to Charlotte. And don't forget, it is Memorial Day weekend, and it's actually the most dangerous weekend to travel, so make sure you're staying extra cautious. And also, we'll have the best time that you should travel for the weekend coming up in just a few minutes.
On this day in history, we are saluting the first steel skyscraper in North Carolina, built right here in Charlotte. The year was 1909. The first skyscraper opened at Trade and Tryon, the Independence Building, 12 stories tall. It was, by the way, demolished in September 1981 to make way for the Independence Center. So that's the way it looked back in the day. By the way, this area right here, that's where the huge Bank of America Tower is at the moment. That's the Independence Building, one of the monumental buildings in history in Charlotte, but once again was imploded in 1981 to make way for a very beautiful, what we have today known as the Independence Center. That's it right there, right at Trade and Tryon. And that's on this day in history. I'm Larry Sprinkle.
Check this out. A University of Buffalo graduate is going viral after carrying his baby across the stage as he received his diploma. In the video, you can see he is being followed closely by a member of law enforcement. NBC's Alyssa Clausel explains why the grad dad wanted his baby on stage with him.
It's the commencement clip that's gone viral. More than 6 million TikTok views and counting. A University of Buffalo grad running up to the stage with his baby in hand. Well, Papa. That graduate was Jean Paul Al Arab. Originally from Lebanon, he's now a UB grad with a degree in criminology.
I've asked last semester if I could walk with my baby in a commencement prep session, and they were like, yeah, it's okay, no one's gonna tell you no.
But per UB's commencement rules, no one but the graduate is allowed on stage.
So they said it was a safety hazard. They don't want the baby on stage.
His response was,
I won't walk then. I won't be walking, and I ran. That's what I did. You know, I had to. I promised him I'm gonna walk with him on the stage. I had to walk with him on the stage or run with him on the stage, you know.
In a statement shared with Two on Your Side, the university said commencement rules are in place for the safety of all those in attendance and to avoid disruptions in the venue, ensuring each graduate is equally provided with a well-deserved moment to individually cross the stage and be recognized for their outstanding accomplishments at UB. They went on to say that John Paul had apologized for the disruption in an email to the commencement officials on Sunday afternoon.
I have nothing against UB. I love UB. I graduated from UB. I'm doing my master's right now at UB. It's a great college. I love my professors, everyone.
And as for John Paul's son, he may have stolen the spotlight, but not quite a diploma. UB says the infant, despite crossing the stage in a cap and gown, has not yet earned enough credits to receive a diploma. We hope to see him back on stage in about 20 years so he can follow in his dad's footsteps.
From graduation to a special senior prom, take a look at this. More than 120 senior citizens in Kansas City celebrated prom. Volunteers helped dress them up and did their makeup for the night out. They would not forget. Organizers say all of the seniors have one thing in common: memory loss or dementia. The dance was a chance to make new memories and perhaps find old ones too.
I'm gonna go and I'm gonna enjoy myself.
The perfume and the lipstick and ready to go.
Goal tonight is to have the time of our lives. The hope is to have happy memories come to the forefront.
I never went to prom at high school or any of that stuff. Never did.
I think when they have a good time, they remember it. They'll remember this night.
Music is that great trigger for good stuff.
Great for them to celebrate
So
prom.
cute.
Never too late to do that.
No, absolutely. Very, very nice.
Well, we are going to take a quick break. We'll keep it right here on WCNC Plus. Coming up in just 2 minutes, we're going to have another check of your weather and traffic. And then Megan and I will have the day's top headlines back at 7:30. Stay with us.
Well, good morning, everybody. Looking gorgeous through our Monroe camera. Loving those Carolina blue skies. 82 for a high right around Charlotte. 78 for you in Hickory. And it looks like we are going to have a windy day. Wind gusts up to about 30 miles per hour for the mid to late afternoon, especially with a few more clouds to end the morning and begin the afternoon. Overnight tonight, the average low is 60 degrees will not be met until Monday. It actually will feel significantly cooler, especially Saturday morning, where some of us in the mountains dropping down to the upper 30s, the majority of us dropping down into the 40s. So yeah, definitely feeling the chill. And our dew points are very low. And all this means is it's comfortable. It's very dry, almost too dry almost, especially heading into Saturday. But we're not complaining. Moisture content starts to come up, which will lead to an elevated rain chance, especially for your Memorial Day Monday night heading into Tuesday, where Tuesday morning looks to be the wettest. Guy Roofing 7-day forecast showing the upper 70s after today. Majestic?
All right, good Thursday morning, everyone. Heading out the door, those area roadways are really starting to pick up. We do have a crash I want to let you know about, especially if you live out towards the Lake Wiley area. On Highway 49, there's a crash that's inbound. It's between South Tryon Street and Shopton Road, blocking the right-hand lane, so there are very heavy delays. You can see it extending for miles now, and traffic is moving very slowly.
Good morning, and thank you for joining us live on WCNC Plus at 7:30. I'm Megan Bragg, filling in for Ben.
And I'm Lisa Washington. We are following some breaking news just into our newsroom. District 3 Councilwoman Tijuana Brown is expected to face federal charges soon. Of course, we're talking about Charlotte City Councilwoman. We can confirm that this is related to pandemic aid she received for one of her businesses. Federal records show the Small Business Association forgave a more than $20,000 PPP loan approved in April of 2021 for her retail business. Brown released a statement this morning saying the alleged events happened years ago and have nothing to do with her time on city council. She calls this a deliberate effort to interfere with her re-election, adding, quote, "I trust in the legal process and am confident that the truth will come to light." She tells WCNC Charlotte she has no intention of resigning and plans to fight the charges because she is innocent. She expected to speak about those allegations at 8 this morning. We are working to bring those comments to you live. Happening today, just in time for Memorial Day weekend, one of York County's most popular parks is back open.
WC Charlotte's Destiny Richards is at Ebenezer Park, where they just finished some major renovations.
Newly paved campsites, fresh walkways, and a completely updated playground are just a few of those renovations. And it's a popular park. It's also expected to be packed this holiday weekend and throughout the summer. That's why the park is rolling out a new queuing system as well. Ebenezer Park's picnic shelters, boat ramps, swimming area, and that brand new playground reopened earlier this month. And as of today, the campgrounds are officially open for overnight stays, but they're already fully booked ahead of Memorial Day weekend. Over the past year, York County has added 66 paved campsites, renovated the restrooms and showers, and improved lake access and picnic shelter areas. The playground and walkways also got a full facelift, making it easier for families to enjoy their time by Lake Wylie.
We moved here a year ago tomorrow, and we haven't camped yet, but we're super excited about the new campsites.
Yeah, I've been wanting to come. I found out about the park last summer, but it was closed for renovation, so I've waited, and we finally made it. We're going to be here all summer. We want to get a pass. It's going to be great.
To help manage the crowds on weekends and holidays, Ebenezer Park is rolling out a new queuing system. Once parking fills up, visitors can join a digital wait list in person at the gate. They'll then leave the park and get a text message when it's their turn to come back in. The park will be open daily from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. and admission depends on your age and whether or not you live in York County. And keep in mind, this new queuing system does not reserve you a spot, so it's still first come, first serve if you want to enjoy the park. At Ebenezer Park, I'm Destiny Richards, WCNC Charlotte.
Just letting you know, we're heading into a nice little dry pattern. Today, you can feel that dry, cooler air. Temperatures still in the lower 80s today, so pretty much where we should be. And the coming days, we are expecting a eventual increase in our rain chances, but not right away. So this is perfect for any outdoor painting. So I always like to show you this graphic when we have at least 3 days that you don't have to worry about any rain. Now note, there's the slightest chance that down in South Carolina, you could have a brief shower by tomorrow morning and again on Saturday morning, but most of us are staying dry just fine. Over here in Lylesville, I think you were also included in that dry window. Beautiful blue skies, increasing the clouds subtly as we work our way through the morning hours. And then I think that they will decrease by the back end of the day. 60 degrees, that is our low this morning, at least so far. 58 degrees around Lincoln, and then 59 in Concord. Our current temperature still at that morning low around Charlotte, 60 degrees, 61 in Lincoln, and 55s for Jefferson and Boone up in the high country. 81, that's where we should be. 82 is our high today. And as I mentioned, more sunshine to end the day. But one of the bigger stories about today is really the winds. You can see that quick passing of that cloud cover. I real quick want to show you the briefest rain chance. Here it is down towards the south. See that cloud cover? That could develop into something. You've seen a little boop, little bop of green. That's by 7 a.m. I don't think that's really going to work its way to the north. At most, maybe a sprinkle, and then a mix of cloud and sunshine throughout the day. Now let's talk about the winds. Winds will be highest up in the mountains as they usually are. There's less friction for the winds to pass through, and that's why they're much higher. Also, the higher you go up, the winds are stronger in general in the atmosphere. Right around 30 miles per hour for the peak of the afternoon. I think the peak gust we'll see for the greater Charlotte area, 35. Winds out of the southwest turning west-northwest. That eventually is going to cool us down over the coming days, which, by the way, a strong wind gust, which is about 25 to 30 miles per hour, will visibly shake large branches. And luckily, you don't need to use the umbrella, but that makes it difficult to use at that point. Also, if you get gusts up to about 40 miles per hour, that could knock over a trash can if it's not really filled all that much. So I'm just letting you know if anyone has to put out their trash can, mainly up in the foothills and the mountains. High temperatures going forward. We are going to see them start to wind down over the next 10 days. You have the upper 70s Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I even brought us down to the lower to the mid 70s. I might bring this back up if we don't see as much cloud cover, but right now things are trending to be wetter and cloudier for your Memorial Day and your Tuesday, but we should rebound back to the lower to the mid 80s before you know it. For the last 2 days of May, well, certainly feeling a little bit more May to June like. Our low temperatures, you can see the bottom visibly, 52 degrees. This seems lazy. I was like, oh, 62, just throw it up there. Well, that's where the models are trending, that we just have very similar starts to the day. 59 degrees before the start of June, 65 degrees. And it'll be a lot more humid at that point as well. The best chances for rain right here. That's Monday night into Tuesday. There's actually 2 rounds of rain that potentially could see for your Memorial Day, and Sunday for the Coca-Cola 600. We have the slightest chance for a developing shower. By Wednesday, we're starting to dry out yet again to end the month, and then heading into June, we start to see the reoccurring 20%, meaning pop-up showers and thunderstorms will be a possibility. Coming up, I'm going to break down your weekend forecast in a little bit more detail. We'll talk about the winds, the general rain chances, looking at a few models, but first we have to take a close look at your morning commute to see what could slow you down. Majestic.
Good Thursday morning, everyone. Things are definitely picking up. 7:36 right now, but boy, it's a gorgeous start to our Thursday morning. Lots of sunshine. Grab your sunglasses and take it easy. You're going to notice a lot more congestion over the next several days, of course, because of our Memorial Day weekend. Let's talk about this ongoing accident. It is bringing still some major impacts, especially if you travel from the Lake Wiley area and you're heading north. There's a crash inbound south at Tryon Street and Shopton Road. You can see all of that red indicating those slowdowns, blocking the right-hand lane, so you can see those delays. It's backing up for miles and traffic isn't even moving 15 miles an hour, so very slow. You'll want to add at least an extra 10 minutes to get to where you need to be on time. Heading to the north, we have this ongoing accident at Lucia Riverbend Highway where it intersects with Highway 16 as well. That's where we do have a major slowdown. Oakdale Road, there was just a crash that was reported there, and Simpson Road, not seeing any major concerns with that. And Tom Sadler Road, crash at Mount Holly Road. So just be mindful, it is definitely getting active. We'll have more on your drive times coming up in just a few. Megan.
All right, thanks, Majestic. Continuing coverage this morning on that home explosion in Dilworth earlier this month. A WCNC Charlotte investigation shows a failure that day put firefighters and neighbors at risk. WCNC Charlotte's Nate Morabito learned in the moments after the explosion, 2 of the closest fire hydrants did not work.
Long before developers moved in,
as if this is a construction zone,
and crews started infrastructure upgrades.
We've lost water 5 times.
Lombardi Circle once seemed like a slice of heaven.
We are losing all the history here.
But Ravi Thacker says in recent months, the Dilworth neighborhood started feeling
it's been a living hell.
Like the exact opposite.
It was like a loud bang. It was like an explosion.
Like a bomb.
Then, on the morning of May 2nd,
I heard an enormous boom.
This street actually looked the part.
You could feel the heat standing in our yard.
The Charlotte Fire Department responded swiftly in just 3 minutes to what they'd later call an intentionally set fire.
Engine 2's ready for water.
But upon their arrival,
the hydrant that we're at is dead. We're not getting any water out of it.
A failure only fanned the flames.
Work on my water supply, please.
CFD says it took firefighters 5 minutes.
Your second hydrant's dead. That's all the water I got.
They had no water here.
To find a reliable hydrant.
I mean, it was really a shocker. I was really disturbed.
Thacker owns several homes on this street.
You always assume there's going to work because the city is, taking care of it.
2 of which are near the closest hydrant that didn't work that day.
We pay pretty hefty taxes.
Unacceptable in his eyes.
In the heart of the city, it's not like we are in the outskirts, so It's just heartbreaking to know that there was no water in it when it was actually needed.
In response to WCNC Charlotte's questions on behalf of those who live here, Charlotte Water says the agency understands their concern. A spokesperson says a city review completed after the fire found contractors had been operating hydrants and underground valves improperly, which disrupted normal hydrant function. The agency calls it an isolated situation, but says we take it seriously and are implementing safeguards to minimize the risk of recurrence. Those safeguards will include improved monitoring and more frequent spot checks of hydrants in areas where there's construction or utility work.
This is 4 houses away.
The explosion and subsequent fire damaged neighboring homes.
We lost windows back here.
But it's unclear if more readily available water would have made a difference. Thacker can't help but wonder.
Well, if it had been put out quick enough, maybe the heat would not get to the other houses.
That was Nate Morabita reporting. The fire department tells us that while crews tried to find a working fire hydrant, firefighters used water stored in their trucks. The agency says crews worked under extremely challenging conditions to protect surrounding homes and ensure public safety.
7:41 now. Our area has seen a disturbing number of animal cruelty cases in recent months. And this morning, local animal advocates are asking folks to remain vigilant and report any potential abuse. However, they say there's a bigger issue with animal laws themselves. Aging policies are failing to keep pets safe. Advocates say this is where communities can step in by reaching out to policymakers to ask for protections to be stronger.
And kind of what you mentioned is people will call in a chain dog or a dog that's out in a yard or even a wandering dog. And in a lot of cases, their response is, thank you for the report, but we can't actually do anything about that. And it's because our laws are very old. Our laws come from a time when we were much less educated on what animals need. And so at this point, one of the biggest things we can say is if you love animals, whether you own a dog or not, is to really think a lot about what role you can play in helping to protect the animals around our state. And a lot of that means paying close attention to local elections.
Now, what you just heard is part of a longer discussion last night that aired here on WCNC Plus. Make sure you keep with WCN Plus to get the latest on interviews like this, live breaking news as we stream all day for you. WCNC Plus, free to download and watch on Roku, Fire TV, and Apple TV.
Well, the school year is wrapping up for many local districts. Families in Fort Mill will have to pay a little more next school year. The school board just approved a 50 to 75-cent increase for breakfast and lunch. It's the district's first price increase in 8 years. Students who receive free or reduced lunch will not be affected.
A new bill could soon require North Carolina schools to teach students about the risks of social media. It would require schools to offer social media literacy lessons. The idea is to educate students about the impacts on social, emotional, and physical health. The lessons would happen once in elementary school, once in middle school, and twice in high school.
New this morning, how much would you pay to have dinner with the president today? More than 200 wealthy anonymous crypto buyers will head to the White House for that very honor. And the price of admission, anywhere from $55,000 to $37 million in Trump cryptocurrency. The dinner is also prompting critics to ask whether the president is using his position for personal profit. The website for tonight's dinner claims the president will not solicit any funds for it. However, 80% of his crypto coin project is owned by Trump-affiliated companies.
7:43 now, time to connect the dots. When we make the news make sense. We're learning more about former President Biden's prostate cancer diagnosis and why doctors say his case is both rare and revealing. Doctors say former President Biden's cancer diagnosis is unusual but not unheard of. Let's connect the dots. Doctors say it's an aggressive form that has spread to the bone. That's uncommon, but not unheard of for someone his age. Most prostate cancers are caught early through routine screenings, but in about 8% of cases, the cancer has already spread by the time it's found. Experts say Biden likely had prostate cancer for several years without knowing it. A spokesperson says he was last screened in 2014, and his exam didn't show any issues. Screening guidelines are debated. Some doctors don't recommend them for men in their 70s and 80s. Others say longer lifespans make regular testing more important.
When caught late, treatment usually involves hormone therapy to slow the cancer's growth. Doctors say most patients respond well for several years. Survival is possible even after a late-stage diagnosis. Experts say Biden has multiple options and could still have quality years ahead. And that's connecting the dots.
Memorial Day marks the unofficial start of summer. As the weather heats up and vacations begin, more people will be heading to Lake Norman.
But who's protecting those waters? I spoke with the Iredell County Sheriff's Office to verify some of your top voting questions.
Lake Norman, the largest man-made lake in North Carolina, spanning 34 miles in length with 520 miles of shoreline. The Iredell County Sheriff's Office patrols more than half of that. Our Verified team is taking you along for the ride. Behind the wheel, Deputy Jared Church and Deputy Brooks Weathers.
I just enjoy being on the water.
Both have been patrolling the water for more than 5 years.
Generally try to be out here at peak times, from sunrise to sunset.
But who are they pulling over the most? That's one question you wanted answered.
The most is going to be safety violations. If they're too close to other boats doing crazy maneuvers, it's usually the same excuse, well, I know them. I don't go out trying to write people tickets, but if they need a ticket, they need a ticket.
But do they even need a reason to pull you over? According to North Carolina law, they don't.
So whose boat is this?
Law enforcement officers have the authority to stop and inspect any vessel.
If we're going to stop somebody, we typically have a reason.
Safety checks and safety violations can lead to charges of BWI, boating while impaired.
So if we stop somebody for a safety violation, whether it be some kind of motoring maneuver or stumbling, falling down on the boat, falling off the boat.
Church says they work with North Carolina Fish and Wildlife officers for these arrests. So when you see these guys on the water, they're not trying to ruin your day of fun, but to keep you safe. With your Verified, I'm Megan Bragg.
If you'd like something verified, I'd love to hear from you. You just email me at verified@wcnc.com.
And Meg, I just looked up the water temperatures of Lake Norman. I have a site that reads it hourly. They actually had a range of 77 to 81 degrees. By the way, the last time I updated this boating forecast was the beginning of May. Water temperatures were around 72 to 76. So really warming up nicely, and temperatures will reach the lower 80s today. So the air temperature and the water temperature are almost identical as we are working away in the afternoon. For tomorrow, though, that's what this forecast is. We start off sunny, picking up a few clouds during the afternoon, and then high temperatures in the mid to the upper 70s, so even a little bit cooler than that peak water temperature. What we are expecting going forward, though, is a few passing clouds and the slightest chance for rain. You see clouds overnight tonight, heading into Friday morning. A little bit of green passes down towards the south. I don't really think we have to worry about that guy. Maybe parts of Lancaster and Chester County, you could have a brief shower for maybe a trace of rain. And then other than that, we're staying dry Saturday morning. Still a slight chance, not really seeing too much, but more clouds start to move in for Saturday afternoon. At this point, I think it turns partly sunny to mostly cloudy to close out your Saturday, and then you have a whole lot more cloud cover to begin your Sunday. So Sunday is actually our first chance for really a better widespread light rain south of I-85. Still, I don't think a few hundredths of an inch to maybe a trace is possible, but it's the back end that we start to add a little bit extra juice to the atmosphere that could pop up a shower or thunderstorm. I have identical highs for your Saturday and Sunday. Winds start to pick up out of the southwest, cranking up Mother Nature's thermostat for your Sunday. Slightest chance that we have interruption during the Coca-Cola 600. 20% is still quite low, so very isolated. So it could be pouring in Matthews, but you're fine in Concord. Now, I just want everyone to know if that is going to be your plan, but it's every year during the Coca-Cola 600 that we have a chance for a shower or storm. Luckily, it's not widespread. That doesn't really happen until Monday night. So even though you have a 50-50 shot, I hate this, by the way, as a meteorologist, to put a 50 chance. I just really think about half the area is going to see storms and the other half won't, because this isn't just about our chances, it's our confidence in how much of the area could see rain. Could see some rain in the morning, but then better chance for scattered thunderstorms in the middle of the afternoon. So the next big rain doesn't arrive until Monday night into Tuesday, as I was mentioning. The reason why is because of this front. This warm front will start to warm us up, but it's this low that parks over the area that creates more of a widespread rain Other than that, you're just dealing with pulses of showers and thunderstorms. They'll be possible late Monday, Monday night, Tuesday, and again Tuesday afternoon. And it's not until this guy clears that we're going to have a better chance to clear things out. But until then, we're staying super dry, really comfortable in the near term, and those rain chances again spiking Monday into Tuesday. Guy Roofing 7-day forecast. Here's what you need to know. Great for your Saturday, so no interruptions for the Charlotte FC match. As I mentioned, the slight chance for rain on Sunday. Temperature-wise, though, once we get rid of that rain, we'll start to warm up. We have the upper 70s on Wednesday, but we should be back in the lower to the mid 80s to end next week. Majestic.
All right, sounds pretty good. Great weekend for our Memorial Day forecast, that's for sure. But hey, if you are doing some traveling, if you're leaving today, according to AAA, the worst time to leave today will be between 1 o'clock this afternoon and 5 p.m. tonight. If you're leaving today, the best time to leave would be probably about now up until about noon. But just be really mindful over the next several days. You're going to start to see more congestion, of course, as more people are coming into town, as more people are leaving out of town, and it's already difficult to travel when there's a lot of people on those area roadways. Still watching this accident here. It's on Highway 49. If you live in the Lake Wiley area and you're heading north, this is going to really impact your morning commute. There's a crash inbound on South Tryon Street, and Shopton Road is actually blocking the right-hand lane, and heavy delays are ongoing. All of that red is indicating the backups, and you can see how far back it is extending. Cars aren't even moving 15 miles an hour right now. In addition to that, well north of Charlotte, we're tracking this accident. Has been ongoing for over an hour now. It's on Highway 16 south at Lucia River Bend Highway. You can see the red there. Let's head a little closer to the uptown area. This accident isn't causing any major slowdowns, but it's at Mount Holly Road and Tom Sadler off to the east. Two more I want to highlight. Eastway Drive, there's a crash at Sugar Creek Road. Seeing some yellow, meaning some medium impacts in this one here. Mason Circle, there's a crash at the plaza.
Every Thursday, a local organization works to alleviate hunger and food insecurity by providing food for those in need.
Bountiful Blessings in Gastonia offers fresh produce, canned goods, pantry staples, and more. WCNC Charlotte's Larry Sprinkle stopped by to see the impact they're making in the community.
Every Thursday here at Mount Zion Restoration Church in Gastonia, Bountiful Blessings does its best to stop hunger across the area.
Giving hope to people who find themselves in really difficult times, difficult situations.
That's Pastor Rodney Freeman. He says Bountiful Blessings is a lifeline for thousands of neighbors struggling to get by.
Our numbers are going up. And so about 2 weeks ago, we saw an additional 100 families that have never came to the food pantry came through the line.
Blessings that he's able to help the community. And with the food, it's been a blessing to me.
We don't know what we'd do without them. I'm 77 years old. This is what I live off of every month.
For the last 2 years, I've been coming here since the pandemic. So that's something. I mean,
every Thursday morning, long before starting time, people line up blocks away. Some wait for hours, arriving the night before.
They start lining up Wednesday about 12:30, 1 o'clock. This week, that's when our first person came and got in line. So if you kind of look at that, you think about it, man, that's about 17, 18 hours that they were willing to sit out here and wait so that they can get something to eat. So it just lets you know about how tough things are for people right now.
We get here about 12:30, 1 o'clock.
People come for food, but they leave with so much more. Respect, comfort, and a reminder they're not alone.
And I'm thankful. Very blessed.
It's a big blessing. It's a big blessing.
We appreciate the effort that everybody makes right here, especially the volunteer people, because that help a lot the community.
Volunteers make the difference. Many show up before sunrise, working nonstop to make sure no one leaves empty-handed.
It means a lot to me. It helps me out a lot because I'm retired and you don't get so much money, and it's really been good for me.
Bernadine, with a big smile and a Larry bobblehead, is very thankful for the blessings she receives.
It helps out a lot. It helps out. I pass it out to some of my friends, and someone that can't get up here, and they are truly blessed.
At Bountiful Blessings Food Pantry in Gastonia, Larry Sprinkle, back to you.
A debate is dividing the internet this morning, and it's all about etiquette. at takeout restaurants. A comedian on TikTok says he was wearing headphones while waiting for his takeout meal. He says he took them out to order, then put them back in while he waited. When it came time to get his food, he says an employee scolded him for wearing headphones while he waited. Some comments took the employee's side, saying it's rude to wear headphones in public spaces, but others jumped to his defense, saying there's no wrong way to wait for a takeout order. And we did speak about this a little bit earlier. I said what's rude is when employees have their one earbud in and I'm ordering. Okay, that's what's rude.
And here's the thing: we've been to those places where they say, please, don't talk on your cell phone while you're being serviced. I get that, because you have to be aware of what's happening.
Yes.
I don't think it's appropriate for the employee to scold a customer. The customer is always right. Sometimes they are inappropriate, but in this case, I think while you're waiting,
no, you're not doing anything wrong. You're just standing there. What are we supposed to do? Talk to you the whole time? Entertain you?
All right. Tell us how you really feel, Megan.
I'm getting heated about this.
Please do not go anywhere. We are going to take a quick break, but we will be right back with more on WCNC Plus. We're going to have another check on your weather with Chris. Majestic is monitoring the traffic situation this morning for your commute. And of course, we'll have the day's top headlines starting at 8.
Good morning, y'all. Look at that beautiful blue sky behind you. 80 degrees Statesville, lower 80s for highs today after starting off cooler than where we have been over the last few days. Either side of 60 degrees, 67 right around boom. But check out where our lows are going tonight. 57 degrees as the sun is rising up for your Friday. The coolest low Saturday, 52 degrees, before we're back to the lower 60s, a little bit close to where we should be. Guy Roofing 7-day forecast, staying dry the next 3 days, feeling comfortable, feeling absolutely amazing. Slight chance for a pop-up storm on Sunday. Better chance for rain, especially late Memorial Day into Tuesday. Majestic?
All right, looks like a great Memorial Day weekend forecast. That's for sure. A popular place to be over the Memorial Day holiday weekend is going to be the lake. Lake Norman here, I-77. Need to keep in mind that traffic is really going to start to get even more congested than it typically already is. According to AAA, the worst time to travel today if you're heading out of town will be between 1 o'clock in the afternoon and 5 o'clock tonight. The best time will be before noon. You can see our drive times this morning, almost 70 minutes if you're coming in from Waxhaw to Charlotte. I do want to let you know that we're still following this accident here. It's out towards Lake Wiley. There's a
Thanks for joining us live on WCNC Plus at 8 o'clock. I'm Lisa Washington.
And I'm Megan Bragg, filling in for Ben. We are on top of breaking news this morning. District 3 Councilwoman Tawana Brown has been indicted on federal charges. Just moments ago, the Department of Justice released information claiming that Brown, along with her daughters, allegedly defrauded COVID relief programs to obtain more than $124,000 in pandemic aid. The indictment claims they filed at least 15 fraudulent loan applications using fake tax forms and false documentation. Federal prosecutors say the money was used for personal spending, including $15,000 for a birthday party for Brown. We've confirmed one of those loans, more than $20,000, was forgiven through the PPP program for a business registered to Brown. Brown released a statement this morning saying the alleged events happened years ago and have nothing to do with her time on city council. She calls this a deliberate effort to interfere with her re-election, adding, quote, "I trust in the legal process and I'm confident that the truth will come to light." She tells WCNC Charlotte she has no intentions of resigning and plans on fighting the charges because she is innocent.
She is expected to speak live any minute now about these allegations. In fact, we have a live look from Uptown. Our crew is there. We will bring you those comments live as they happen right here on WCNC Plus. Right now, though, we need to get a check of our forecast for this Thursday. We see some clear blue skies out there, Chris.
Gotta love it, right? We will pick up more clouds over the coming hours. We're already starting to see a few upper level guys, such as these little cirrus. Hello. And 65 degrees is our new temperature. We were just at 60 degrees, so that's a quick 5-degree warm up for Charlotte. And we'll start to see these numbers change over the next couple of minutes. Usually come in about 3 minutes before the change of the hour, but sometimes it takes a few. And 67 in Morganton, 55 degrees right around Boone over the next 6 hours. I love when the yellow numbers match the white ones. And all that means is that the actual air temperature feels like the actual air temperature. You're not dealing with a heat index today because it is amazingly dry out there, and we are picking up a few more clouds, as I mentioned, to close out the morning, but then later on in the afternoon I think we'll start to get back to that mostly sunny status. So a few more clouds compared to what we just had an hour ago. At times could even look a little bit on the partly sunny to mostly cloudy side. Check out Lylesville. Ooh, see more clouds over there as well here in Anson County. Regardless, it's still a delightful start to the day. Our official low temperature, by the way, these are officially updated for today for your May 22nd. We did drop down to 59 degrees in Charlotte, 59 in Concord, and then 61 degrees in Morganton. And I'll show you our current temperatures again, seeing the difference of what we have now, mainly in the mid to the upper 60s. And a couple hours from now, we'll be actually enjoying the 70s. High temperatures today, the warmest we'll see until about this time next week. It's next Thursday that we're back into the 80s. Other than that, mainly rocking the 70s going forward. 81's where we should be. 82, that's a 1 degree upgrade. The big thing about today, the winds. So mentioned, clouds pass, that's not a big deal. The winds gusting up to 30 miles per hour, that could be a few problems. Mainly if you're outside eating, blowing wrappers around, maybe the hair day. Hats, not great with 30 mile per hour gusts. Gusts up to about 40 miles per hour in the mountains. So these are a little bit more impactful during, of course, the winter months because the 30 mile per hour gusts will make you feel a whole lot cooler. Winds will start to shift out of the west, northwest, which is technically a cooler direction. It'll just be pleasant on a day that is high of 82 degrees. Our Beaufort wind scale, and you might have heard me talk about this here on WCNC Plus or WCNC in general, is a wind scale set by Sir Francis Beaufort back in the 1800s. And all this is just an easy to recognize wind range to kind of show you what the day looks like when winds are this strong. So a strong wind gust, which we have today, about 25 to 31, means that large branches could be in motion. Umbrellas are difficult to use. Luckily, you don't have to worry about that today. By tomorrow, the winds get a little bit lighter, and at most, that's just small branches moving in the breeze. Our high temperature range, 82 degrees. Then the 70s. I even brought us down into the lower to the mid 70s on Monday and Tuesday before we start to see that rebound back to the high temperature today. So as I mentioned, this is literally the warmest temperature we have over the next 7 days until you get to the back end of the forecast. Our lows show that Saturday morning is our chilliest low. Lower 60s Monday through Thursday before we start to see a ramp up to the mid 60s. And our rain chances especially high right here. I think that's the end of your Memorial Day heading into Tuesday. And I hate that compared to what we've seen in the last couple of days, each day I'm up here giving you your forecast spiel. we're seeing a better chance for rain for your Memorial Day. So if I were to pick anything to do this weekend, say it's like, I want to pick either Saturday, Sunday, or Monday. Saturday's my choice because you have 0 rain chances. It's still great. Sunday, I think most of the day is dry, but then once you get to Memorial Day, things get a little bit iffier. But if you're absolutely doing stuff on that day and you can't avoid it, you will have a solid dry window, I think, late morning heading into the afternoon. Boating forecast for tomorrow. Meg did a great story on some Boating Verify, and our water temperatures, at least yesterday, 77 to 81 degrees for the most recent readings. Today, since it is a little bit cooler, still probably going to be pretty close to that, maybe in the upper 70s for the water temperature, and that's pretty much where our air temperature is going to be dancing as well. Let's look a little bit deeper into our future cast. We have a chance of a passing shower each and every morning. Most likely, we're staying dry through Sunday. Seeing a passing cloud from place to place. Brief shower down towards the south. It's really not until late Saturday that we start seeing additional cloud cover, turning mostly cloudy by day's end, and this is a precursor for what's coming on Sunday. Sunday's still pretty warm in the upper 70s. We start to see a lot more rain pop up here on the Futurecast. First signs of it go until 4 a.m. This is one of our favorite long-range models, but it's the Memorial Day is still a big split. Coming up, I'm going to take a little bit closer look specifically at what our Memorial Day forecast is shaping up to be and anything else you need to know about your holiday weekend. But first, we have to check your morning commute with Majestic. Good morning to you, my friend.
Good morning. Area roadways are definitely picking up this morning, whether it's just your typical Thursday morning commute, heading off to work, or maybe you're heading out of town for the Memorial Day weekend. Here's I-77 up towards Lake Norman. Of course, a very popular place to be this weekend. Make sure you're driving nice and safe. Yes, always, but especially today all the way through Monday with our holiday weekend. Now, according to AAA, today's worst time to travel is going to be between 1 o'clock this afternoon and 5 o'clock tonight. The best time will be any time before noon. Drive times are really starting to increase, over an hour if you're coming in from Waxhaw to Charlotte, 64 minutes, and about 1 hour from Salisbury to Charlotte. Let's get to our live traffic map. Still following this ongoing accident out there towards Lake Wylie. If you typically take Highway 49, there's a crash. It's inbound at South Tryon Street and Shopton Road. It's blocking the right-hand lane, and we're seeing a lot of delays there. So there's the accident. Notice how far back the red goes because of how delayed that accident is making people's morning commute. So if you have to travel that way, I would allow for several extra minutes because you're going to be sitting there for a little while. Another ongoing accident here. It's on Highway 16 south at Lucia Riverbend Highway. You can see all of that red. Once we head a little bit closer to Uptown, this ongoing incident has been active for about 30 minutes now. Eastway Drive, there's a crash there at Sugar Creek Road. Just be careful as you're heading out the door. It seems like actually area roadways are already starting to increase when we're looking at that volume. Mason Circle, there's a crash there at the plaza, starting to see those slow impacts there. Lisa.
Majestic, thanks. 8:08 now, happening today just in time for Memorial Day weekend. One of York County's most popular parks is back open.
WCNC Charlotte's Destiny Richards is at Ebenezer Park, where they just finished some major renovations.
Newly paved campsites, fresh walkways, and a completely updated playground are just a few of those renovations. And it's a popular park. It's also expected to be packed this holiday weekend and throughout the summer. That's why the park is rolling out a new queuing system as well. Ebenezer Park's picnic shelters, boat ramps, swimming area, and that brand new playground reopened earlier this month. And as of today, the campgrounds are officially open for overnight stays, but they're already fully booked ahead of Memorial Day weekend. Over the past year, York County has added 66 paved campsites, renovated the restrooms and showers, and improved lake access and picnic shelter areas. The playground and walkways also got a full facelift, making it easier for families to enjoy their time by Lake Wylie.
We moved here a year ago tomorrow, and we haven't camped yet, but we're super excited about the new campsites.
Yeah, I've been wanting to come. I found out about the park last summer, but it was closed for renovation, so I've waited, and we finally made it. We're going to be here all summer. We want to get a pass. It's going to be great.
To help manage the crowds on weekends and holidays, Ebenezer Park is rolling out a new queuing system. Once parking fills up, visitors can join a digital wait list in person at the gate. They'll then leave the park and get a text message when it's their turn to come back in. The park will be open daily from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. and admission depends on your age and whether or not you live in York County. And keep in mind, this new queuing system does not reserve you a spot, so it's still first come, first serve if you want to enjoy the park. At Ebenezer Park, I'm Destiny Richards, WCNC Charlotte.
Thank you, Destiny. Happening today, a huge celebration for some of Charlotte's most famous radio hosts. The Charlotte chapter of the National Black Radio Hall of Fame will hold its honors event tonight.
Some of the honorees include Grammy Award-winning artist Anthony Hamilton and radio trailblazer Chatty Hattie Leaper. Joining us this morning are two of the honorees for tonight's event and legends of Charlotte radio, Janine Davis of WBAV and BJ Murphy. Good morning to both of you. Thanks so much for getting up early to talk with us. Tell us about the Charlotte Black Radio Hall of Fame and the history behind it.
BJ, that's your cue. Okay, all right. Well, National Black Radio Hall of Fame for the Charlotte chapter was initiated in 2022, and it was our way of commemorating some of the iconic, impactful radio personalities who've done things in this community. This is a great city. Some of the greatest radio personalities that in the country have come out of Charlotte, North Carolina. Janine is one of them. And so Miss Margaret Jones, who's the president, has done a wonderful, wonderful job of keeping this on the right track to acknowledge people who definitely have had an impact in the Charlotte community.
And looking back on your career, what moment or broadcast really stands out to you, and what are you most proud of?
Well, for me, it's been several. Everything from actually going to Jenna, Louisiana, when they had the Jenna 6. That was about, I think, in 2006. All the way up to just being able to sustain for 30 years in the market. I mean, I think I'm most proud of that because this is a very competitive business, as you guys know. And just being able to stay relevant and current and impactful, I think that speaks volumes.
Wonderful. Again, you spoke about the competitiveness of the market, but also the importance of radio. We know that over the years, I mean, decades, radio has been so important for so many people, and you're being honored for your work there. What does that significance mean to you?
It's awesome. I mean, you think about Black radio in particular, we are the go-to for folks in the community, whether it's politics, it's parties, or power in general. It means a lot. It's exciting to know that, you know, sometimes media gets such a bad rap, but to be acknowledged because of the work that you love doing speaks volumes. So I'm excited.
For people trying to get into radio, what advice, would you really give them? What's something that young people should know as they want to make a career out of this?
Don't do it. No, BJ, I'll let you take that one. Well, I mean, I've always had a dream of being on the radio. When I was 15 years old, I knew this is what I wanted to do. And I tell everybody since when I left my mother and father's house in 1983, I went to Shaw University. I've been on this course for 40 some years doing radio. I've always done what I wanted to do. Yeah. And I would say follow your dreams. There's a lot of opportunity out there with the digital space. There's a lot of evolution going on, and you could be one of those people who's a trailblazer, like we were back in the early 80s and 90s. And here Janine is now being recognized. I know her family is extremely excited because I think, Janine, I can speak for you, that you probably never thought of being in some kind of a Hall of Fame. You just did it because of the love, right? Right, the love of radio. And quite honestly, I never thought I would be here at all because starting out as a 5-year-old kindergarten dropout, okay, I was scared to be around people. I didn't want to talk to people. I just wanted to be around my mom and my grandma. So to come full circle and see, wow, when God has a plan for you, he has a plan. And so it's something that I absolutely love. And I think, BJ, you kind of touched on this. Do something you really love. Pour into it. And don't worry about the money, because we all are concerned about that. A lot of the Gen Xers are, but Gen Zers, what am I? A Gen X? I don't know. Anyway, the younger folks, they care about the money, but you can't get caught up in that. It has to be something you really love. So how do you stay in something for 30 years and not love it? So, right.
So here's a quick question for both of you. Again, you're great that you're living your purpose. You're doing the job that you want to do. You've always wanted to do something you love. Is there any person you'd like to interview or any event you'd like to cover as radio host that you haven't done in all your decades? What's on your bucket list for interviews?
Well, everybody wants to interview Oprah for sure. But my dream team would be, honestly, or my dream show, if you will, would be my doing a 3-hour podcast.
Wow.
In my studio in Aruba.
In Aruba,
Oh, wow.
okay. All right.
Wow.
Yeah. BJ, what about you? That sounds great.
I do that too.
I would like to get all these honorees tonight in a room, because the Charlotte radio story needs to be told. Like, you think about the posthumous awards with Barbara Taylor and Nate Quick, great Skip Murphy, Eddie Owens, Cheryl Patterson, Marvin Ross, Beatrice Thompson.
Yeah.
So this illustrious, this is probably, I don't think you could top this entry into the Black Radio Hall of Fame in Charlotte. Dr. Stale Alexander, Debbie Quay, Todd Haygood, Margaret Jones, Mickey Watson. These are all our contemporaries. This is like the heyday of Black radio in Charlotte induction ceremony, you know? So I would like to get everybody in a room and tell the story, Janine, about, Charlotte and how it's evolved and the people that we train that are on the radio today.
No, that would be a great interview. And you would interview us.
Oh, of course I would, yes. Absolutely.
Naturally.
Okay.
And tonight's event is certainly going to be with all those people in the room, 18 honorees. It's going to be a who's who event. I'm sure it's great to see people who you've worked with, those who you look up to, who inspired you to do exactly what you're doing.
Yeah.
It's going to be like a reunion, honestly, because some of these folks, even though we're all in the same city, we never really get to see each other and have conversation. So I'm excited about that, too.
Right.
Wonderful.
And I'm going to tell you, if there was a radio station invented today that you could put in Charlotte, where you could have all these iconic radio personalities on one radio station, it would be wildly successful and impactful. So hats off to everybody who's made a contribution. Janine, hats off to you. Salute you.
Thank you.
One of the most professional, strategic, and sometimes annoying radio personality.
Hello, excuse me. You know we live, BJ.
Janine is powerful, and she deserves this award. I'm so happy that she's receiving this, and hats off to you, Janine. Thank you
so much.
Wonderful. Janine Davis of WBAV and BJ Murphy, just two of the honorees for the event happening tonight. The Charlotte chapter of the National Black Radio Hall of Fame holding its honors event tonight. Congratulations again to both of you. I know it's going to be a fun evening.
Yes.
Exciting.
Thank you so much for joining us.
All right.
Thank you so much for having us. Appreciate it.
All right, while the school year is wrapping up for many local districts, families in Fort Mill will have to pay a little more next school year. The school board just approved a 50 to 75-cent increase for breakfast and lunch. It's the district's first price increase in 8 years. Students who receive free or reduced lunch will not be affected.
A new bill could soon require North Carolina schools to teach students about the risks of social media. It would require schools to offer social media literacy lessons. The idea is to educate students about the impacts on social, emotional, and physical health. The lessons would happen once in elementary school, once in middle school, and twice in high school.
Well, new this morning, how much would you pay to have dinner with the president? Today, more than 200 wealthy anonymous crypto buyers will head to the White House for that very honor. And the price of admission, well, anywhere from $55,000 to $37 million in Trump cryptocurrency. The dinner has also prompted critics to ask whether the president is using his position for personal profit. The website for tonight's dinner claims the president will not solicit any funds for it. However, 80% of his crypto coin project is owned by Trump-affiliated companies.
Let's do another check of our forecast now. Temperatures going to be not as hot as yesterday, but still pretty warm today. Yes, Chris?
Still warm, still dry, and if you purchase Sunshine Coin, it's now worth 82 cents for the afternoon. Winds are going to be gusty, though, gusting up to about 30 to 35 miles per hour. So today looks to be one of the windier days that we have this week. Much windier up in the mountains. Wouldn't be surprised if they're around 40 to 45 mile per hour gusts for you in Avery, Watauga, and Ashe County. Peak winds look to be between about 1 to 7 p.m. Keep that in mind. Overnight tonight, 57 degrees, getting cooler than this morning. This morning we officially dropped down to 59 degrees. Saturday is the coolest, the chilliest morning, especially where we've been. Yesterday, we only dropped down to around 70 degrees. It's about a 20-degree swing for your Saturday morning, and that's just Charlotte. I think realistically, most of you are dropping into the upper 40s. The mountains, I just named the counties, Avery, Watauga, and Ashe. You could be dropping down in the upper 30s, so woof. You're not going to see any frost, though. We're not at that point, thank goodness. 78 degrees for tomorrow. Winds a little bit lighter. Mixed clouds and sunshine. Delightful. Much cooler in the mountains at 62 degrees. Now this brings us to your Memorial Day weekend. I'm going to spend most of this time here talking about our upcoming rain chances. It's the lightest chance that we see anything before Sunday. Most of us staying dry. I'm 99.3% confident on that. And our Coca-Cola 600 does look like it does have a chance for a shower storm. I'm going to show you some long-range data on that in a second. It's just really your Monday that I don't really like the way it's shaping up, but I'll show you. Our rain chances pretty much have zeros for Charlotte up through Saturday. Start to see a 20% chance on Sunday. It's much higher Sunday night into Monday, by the way. And then the highest of all the chances is Monday night into Tuesday, and Tuesday morning almost looking like a washout at this time. So let's get there. Our day and night rain chance, I just want to kind of show you this one because the typical rain chance you see on the 7-day don't include the overnight chances. You can see that this Monday night bar matches the Tuesday, so both widespread rain chances for that time period. Here's a Dallas camera. Seeing some upper level clouds. Whenever you have a batch of clouds like this, not all the time, it could be a precursor that some sort of weather system is moving in, especially when they're along a line. We will potentially see that a little bit later on to close out the morning. You see one little boop, little green dot. Don't worry about that guy for today. It's tomorrow that you could see a few more of those start to develop down to the south. We're way too dry for really anything to spawn. Seeing more clouds throughout the course of the day tomorrow. It's not until late Saturday we really increase the cloud cover, turning mostly cloudy, mainly for areas south of I-85 at this point. This will bring us into Sunday morning, where Sunday overall is a mostly cloudy to an overcast day as our next wet weather system starts to roll in. A long-range model, by the way, is very chunky. It doesn't show a lot of details. That's why the one I was just showing you, that one shows a little more details of what you would typically see on a radar if you were looking at the image. But this shows general timing still. Sunday morning, I think we have a chance for some rain. If you live along the I-40 corridor, you have a different forecast than Concord and around the Charlotte area. I think most of the afternoon is staying dry, even though it does have us surrounded. It does indicate that by the end of the day, we have an increased chance for a shower or thunderstorm. Then we dry out. Slight chance for a little bit of rain on Monday morning, but I think it's really the late afternoon heading into the evening that rain becomes a little bit more widespread. So for sure, have all your plans done by Monday evening. You might be able to escape the rain all in all. So I think we have a solid dry slot at that point, and then rain becoming heavier and widespread for a wet Tuesday morning commute. Even a little bit of yellow on here, then we'll start to dry out through the afternoon. So again, Tuesday morning looking to be the wettest for the time being. Now let's head over to traffic with Majestic. What's going on so far, my friend?
Well, it's definitely starting to pick up now. 8:23. If you're heading out the door, I-77 are your county cameras. You can see it there. It is gorgeous outside. I also want to show you this. It looks like we actually had a little bit of a backup there. I-77 Lake Norman. I didn't see any accident, but it might be just a lot of people are heading out the door and leaving out of town because, of course, it is going to be incredibly busy this weekend because of Memorial Day travel. Now, according to AAA, the worst time to travel today will be between 1 o'clock this afternoon and 5 o'clock tonight, and the best time will be actually before noon. Drive times this morning, they are definitely picking up. You can see it here. Waxhaw into Charlotte about 63 minutes and about 28 if you're coming in from Matthews. Let's take a look at our road conditions. Want to highlight a few things here. Still following this accident very carefully because those backups are still out there. It's on Highway 49. It's out towards Lake Wiley. There's a crash in the inbound lanes. It's at South Tryon Street and Shopton Road. This is where the accident is, but as we zoom it out west, you can see how far back those backups are. I just tracked it. It's about a 5-mile backup for that. Heading into the north, though, you do still have this ongoing accident. It's on Highway 16 and it's south of Lucia Riverbend Highway. You can see those slowdowns right there. So if you are coming towards the Charlotte area, maybe allow for 5 to 10 extra minutes to get to where you need to be. Mason Circle, there's an accident there at the plaza, and another one here. This is backing people up this morning on Albemarle Road. There's a crash there at Willora Lake Road as well. We'll keep you up to date as we learn more about that Lake Wiley accident as well. Megan.
Well, this morning, a Harvard career expert is revealing the #1 trait she says CEOs look for in new hires, and it could help you land your next job.
She says it's not just about your ability to follow instructions, but CEOs want someone who can follow through. This means someone who can anticipate roadblocks, craft solutions, and take accountability during every project. Experts say the ability to execute tasks can make or break your next career move. We'll keep it right here on WCNC Plus. We're coming back in just 2 minutes with another check on weather and traffic, and then we will have more on the day's headlines. We're still awaiting that news conference from Charlotte City Council member Tijuana Brown regarding those allegations that we are just learning about into our newsroom. We are following this, waiting for that news conference. When it does happen, we will bring it to you live here on WCNC Plus. This is actually a live look now. This is in Uptown, that breaking news coming into our newsroom this morning, that she is going to hold a news conference regarding the Department of Justice releasing some information this morning. We'll be right back.
Well, good morning, everybody. A few more clouds to end the morning, begin the afternoon. It's a windy day. Wind gusts up to about 30 miles per hour on and off through the course of the afternoon and to begin the evening before those winds lighten up a little bit. Today's also the warmest day that we're going to have for the rest of the work week and through the weekend. Low temperatures also taking a duck dive. 57 degrees by tomorrow morning as the sun's rising up. 52 is the coolest morning that we have all week long. A lot of us dropping down the 40s, the mountains, even barely touched down into the 30s. Our Guy Roofing 7-day forecast also showing the upper 70s through this coming holiday weekend. Cooler temperatures with more clouds on Memorial Day and Tuesday. Best chance for rain, especially in the morning time. Now let's hit the roads with Majestic Storm. How's it looking so far, my friend?
Not too bad. It is kind of pretty typical, I would say, for this time of the day. We are seeing those drive times really start to increase. If you're coming into Charlotte from Waxhaw, it's going to take you over 1 hour, so make sure you plan accordingly. Still following a couple of things I want to let you know about. Starting to really see some backups along I-77 northbound. No accidents there right now, but if you're heading out of town for the Memorial Day weekend, you got to be ready for those slowdowns. This accident here is still very active. There's a crash on Highway 49. It's between South Tryon Street and Shopton Road. It's blocking the right-hand lane. You can see that's where the accident is, but it is actually extending back for 5 miles because of how backed up traffic is. So you may want to allow for a few extra minutes to get to where you need to be so you get there on time.
Good morning, and thank you for joining us live on WCNC Plus at 8:30. I'm Megan Bragan for Ben.
And I'm Lisa Washington. Charlotte District 3 Councilmember Tijuana Brown has been indicted on federal charges. This is breaking news into our newsroom just moments ago. The Department of Justice released information claiming that Brown, along with her daughters, allegedly defrauded COVID relief programs to obtain more than $124,000 in pandemic aid. The indictment claims they filed at least 15 fraudulent loan applications between April of 2020 and September of 2021 using fake tax forms and false documentation. Federal prosecutors say that money was used for personal spending, including $15,000 for a birthday party for Brown. The indictment includes 3 arrest warrants for Brown and her daughters. We have confirmed one of those loans, more than $20,000, was forgiven through the PPP program for business registered to Brown. Brown released a statement this morning saying the alleged events happened years ago and have nothing to do with her time on Charlotte City Council. She calls this a deliberate effort to interfere with her reelection. She added, quote, "I trust in the legal process and am confident that the truth will come to light." She tells WCNC Charlotte she has no intention of resigning and plans to fight the charges because she is innocent. Now, she is expected to speak live any minute now about these allegations. This is a live look there in Uptown, where this news conference is expected to begin momentarily. Of course, we will bring you her comments live as they happen right here on WCNC Plus. We will check in with Chris in just a moment, I believe. But first, we're going to go to some more breaking news that we're learning about a small plane that has crashed into a San Diego neighborhood. This is some live video. You see, it looks like there's an interview there. If we hear this person talking, we will pause and listen in. But again, this apparently happened just a few moments ago. The San Diego Police Department confirming a crash that happened in the city's Murphy Canyon. Let's listen in.
The line of approach for the landing strip is in our, it runs right down our street, so we constantly see them fly overhead of us. Like I said before, they don't give private pilot's license to anybody. They did an amazing job with him. He did an amazing job. He put it down exactly where he had to put it down with minimal casualties. I'm not sure if he made it. If he didn't make it, I'm very sorry for the family.
But to think that, you know, he landed in the middle, he or she landed in the middle of the street. This could have been so much worse, especially with your home being on that same road.
Of course, that's the immediate worry is everybody's safety. Like I said, it was my family first because they're immediate to me. They're my most nearest and dearest. But like the Marine Corps, we care for all types of life. So we immediately started running out and looking for neighbors, to waking them up, getting them out of bed, making them aware of the situation at hand.
How old are your children, and what was going through your mind trying to protect your family? You know, especially as a military member, you train for emergency situations, but I imagine it's a little different feeling when you're talking about your own family.
Definitely. I mean, so my kids are 3 and 1, male and female. Luckily, it was to my benefit that they were little, so I can get them out quickly. But as far as training goes, I mean, safety's first. Keep cool under chaos, and just constant thinking ahead. What's next? What can I do next? What can I do from here? What's my impact on these people?
And what's been the overall feeling of the rest of your neighbors? Was everybody as calm as you? I mean, it seemed when I was over there trying to get closer to the scene, it did seem a little chaotic. So can you tell me what you saw, and now that you're here, how you're feeling?
I mean, so this is a military household, like complex, right? So there's at least 1 service member per household. But that's 1 for a family of 5, so it's 4 civilians to 1 military member. So they're not used to seeing chaos. They're not used to seeing emergencies like this. So they were panicked. Kind of started giving direction to come here, to gather here, so that they can have a safe point. I noticed that the fuel was running downhill, so I directed everybody uphill so that they can get somewhere safe.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I know your kids are getting antsy and they need to get to bed, but I appreciate your time.
listening into a live interview right there with someone who lived in that area. Once again, this is Murphy Canyon. So a small plane crashed. Now we are unsure if how many people were hurt or killed in this. We are still working to learn those details right there, but definitely a scary situation this morning.
Absolutely. And keep in mind, this is on the West Coast, so 3 hours earlier. It's 5:35 there now. So you might imagine that many people were either sleeping or just beginning to start their day when reports of this surface. Again, a small plane crashing into several homes in San Diego. We'll continue to monitor this and bring you any updates as we get them into our newsroom. Right now, we are going to check in with meteorologist Chris Mulcahy, who has more on our forecast for this Thursday.
Thanks a lot. I've been saying all morning, hey, you have a chance for clouds to increase through this morning, and then they start to erode on the back end of the forecast. Well, I never really showed you truly where they're all coming from. You did see them starting to cross the mountains on and off throughout your WCNC Charlotte stream and then WCNC Plus here. But then you see a little bit of rain right down here. This is a little pulse of energy, not really going to affect us all that much. And I think you're going to be dry really for the next several days. And our surface map showing that this is all behind this cold front. This cold front is mainly going to pick up the winds. That's all it's going to do for us and chill us down a little bit. That's why we have a cooler low and a cooler high tomorrow. And it's oftentimes not until about a day and a half after a front passes that you have our bottom as far as our coldest temperature, and that's going to be on Saturday morning. Current winds barely blowing right now, about 6 mile per hour winds, and that's technically a light breeze around the Charlotte area. But up in the mountains, you're already popping up gusts about 20 to 25. That's significant because that's where our windy zone is going to be today. Futurecast wind gusts showing gusts to about 40 to 50 miles per hour today. Now, I think it's really a bit closer to about that 40 to 45 range. If we were closer to 50, 55, we'd have a wind advisory. That's what it was looking like yesterday, but we're just below that criteria by about 5 miles per hour. And for Charlotte, it's anywhere from 25 to about a 35 mile per hour peak wind gusts on and off through the afternoon. Really looking at that 1 to 7 o'clock time frame, so pretty breezy. Winds start to lighten up a little bit by the end of it, so gusts to about 30 by 7 p.m. And then beyond this, you have still gusts to about 15 to 20 for tomorrow. That's just a moderate breeze compared to a strong one today. There's those upper level clouds I'm talking about. I'm focusing in on this only because that's the only thing that really changes across the sky. We're not looking at any rain. Upper level clouds, those are technically cirrocumulus clouds. It actually is really cool. You can see this little rose here. This is one of my favorite clouds, by the way. I'm getting off topic and too weather nerdy for you. 82 degrees is just above where we should be, about 81. Then after that, upper 70s. If you like the spring-like weather, boy, do I have a forecast for you. That's Friday heading into Saturday. Now, I try not to be subjective, but I did make Friday our pick of the week only because the winds are a little bit lighter, and I think we do deal with a little bit more sunshine averaged across all the hours. But realistically, today and tomorrow are both picks of the week in their own right. Now, Saturday, clouds start to increase again, still feeling great in the upper 70s, and that's the main point. Because of the cold front and cold front number 2, we're going to be so dry that I'm not using the words humid, muggy, sticky at all until about Sunday into Monday. That's where our rain chances return as well. I also mentioned the bottom of our forecast for our coldest temperature Saturday, where a lot of us dropping down to the 40s, even a chance at a 39 up in the high country. And then our next big rain chance arrives as pulses of rain start to become possible for your Sunday. And we're watching that closely because, of course, we have an epic race on Sunday night. That's the Coca-Cola 600. Then also Memorial Day plans. I'm worried about this low. The good news I have for you, it looks like this low is positioning itself Monday night into Tuesday, so mainly affecting your Tuesday morning compared to Monday. But we're going to take a closer look at your rain chances for Memorial Day and your holiday weekend coming up. But first, in the meantime, we have to see what's happening right now. The now for our morning traffic with Majestic.
Good Thursday morning, everyone. Taking a live look outside, it is a beautiful start to our Thursday morning. That traffic is really starting to pick up, though. I want to take you back to this. This is I-77, our closest camera to Lake Norman. We do have a new accident, actually, that just popped up and may impact you if you are heading heading out of town, if you're heading up to the lake, it's on I-77. Northbound lanes are impacted. There's a crash just after exit 19B, where you can see it's right there by I-485 as well. Heading north, you can see some yellows and some oranges as well between Huntersville and Cornelius, meaning more people are heading north on I-77. Still following this ongoing accident, though, it's been ongoing for quite some time. If you live out towards Lake Wiley and you're heading north, listen up, because this is really impacting those inbound lanes, South Tryon Street and Shopton Road. There is a lane that's blocked because of this ongoing accident. Now, this is where it happened, but I wanted to zoom it out, put things into perspective. This is about a 5-mile backup. So again, allow for some extra drive time to get to where you need to be. Heading a little closer towards the uptown area, if you're in the Plaza Midwood area, we do have an ongoing accident there between the Plaza and Mason Circle. Not seeing any major concerns there. And then I did want to highlight this one as well. It's on Albemarle Road. There's a crash at Willora Lake Road. You can see lots of colors there, just indicating slower moving conditions at this time. Lisa.
Thanks, Majestic. 8:40 now. Happening today, a chance to speak up before your taxes go up. The proposed Mecklenburg County budget would raise property taxes while slashing funds for programs many families rely on. WCNC Charlotte's Richard Devane has details on tonight's public hearing and how you can weigh in.
Yeah, good morning, guys. Good Thursday morning, everyone. If you're concerned about the fact that there's a proposed property tax increase or the cuts that'll be made, you have a chance to tell county commissioners face to face later today. Big changes coming to your wallet and your community services as Mecklenburg County leaders have unveiled that proposed budget, which includes a property tax increase and cuts to nearly every department. Facing a $29 million deficit, the county says following slow sales growth after the pandemic, it's forced some tough choices. The proposed 0.9 cents tax increase means the owner of a medium-priced home, about $377,000, would pay about $36 more per year. And there are nearly $8 million in cuts coming to nonprofits and community service grants, with the county manager saying that funding decisions were based on performance and cost efficiency. But there is some good news. Education is a top priority. Charlotte Mecklenburg schools would receive all $667 million it requested, including a $28 million boost for teachers' salaries and $10 million for pre-K classrooms, as the county looks to tighten its belt and deal with this deficit.
This is a challenging year for Mecklenburg County. And this is probably going to be sustained for a while. I mean, we're seeing sales tax increases of less than 3% a year, and that was always, it has been the revenue source that we've used to really fund a lot of the growth that we needed to.
But we want to make sure that we are being fiscally responsible. We want to make sure that we are preparing for conditions that are unseen. Well, the community has repeatedly told us their number one priority is education. So whether you look at MEC Pre-K, whether you're looking at K-12 or CPCC, that's the number one priority.
And again, if you want to speak, you go to the Government Center down on 4th Street. You sign up before 6 o'clock, and then you'll get your chance to tell county leaders how you feel about this budget. We're right here in Charlotte. This is Richard Devane. We'll send it back to you.
New developments amid a tumultuous time for several Charlotte city leaders.
We now know members of the Fraternal Order of Police will begin having their say in a vote of no confidence against Chief CMPD Johnny Jennings next week. Starting Monday, members will be able to make their vote at a FOP lodge or online. Voting will close on June 3rd. The move follows an alleged closed-door settlement between the city and Chief, reportedly tied to a dispute sparked by former council member Tark Bakari over officers who wanted to wear outer carrier vests.
A tragic story out of Washington, D.C. this morning, where 2 Israeli embassy staffers are dead after a shooting outside the Jewish Museum. As NBC's Alice Barr explains, the victims were set to get engaged in just over a week.
This morning, a tragedy for the Jewish community and the country, striking in the heart of the nation's capital, where 2 Israeli embassy staff members were shot and killed overnight while leaving an event at the Capitol Jewish Museum.
The suspect chanted, "Free, free Palestine," while in custody.
The suspect, 30-year-old Elias Rodriguez, remains in custody as investigators look deeper into the motive.
Prior to the shooting, the suspect was observed pacing back and forth outside of the museum. He approached a group of 4 people, produced a handgun, and opened fire.
Police say he then went into the museum, was arrested, and pointed out where he left the gun. Israel's ambassador to the U.S. spoke about the victims, a young couple, Sarah Milgram and Yaron Lashinsky.
The young man purchased a ring this week with the intention of proposing to his girlfriend next week in Jerusalem. They were a beautiful couple.
President Trump posting these horrible D.C. killings based obviously on anti-Semitism must end now. Hatred and radicalism have no place in the USA. The U.S. Attorney General promising justice.
We'll be doing everything in our power to keep all citizens safe, especially tonight our Jewish community.
As the ambassador rallied against hate and fear.
We're going to overcome moral depravity of people who think that they're going to achieve political gains through murder.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu condemned the killings and said he'd ordered Israeli missions around the world to increase security. Condolences are pouring in from Capitol Hill, across the country, and around the world as the director of the FBI said its Joint Terrorism Task Force has joined in the investigation. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
We want to go live back to that breaking news in San Diego now. This is a live look at the scene. We know a small plane has crashed near San Diego, California, into several homes, we are told. And again, this happening in the very early morning hours. There are not a lot of information at this time, but again, a number of people, we heard earlier from one person who lived in that neighborhood describing what that was like and hearing the loud noise there. We did see some pictures before we were able to get this live shot up from you of what appeared to be parts of the plane in a roadway there. Again, this is in San Diego or near San Diego, California. Reports of a small plane crash there. It is in the Murphy Canyon neighborhood. The San Diego Police Department releasing a little bit of information, not confirming how many people were on that plane or if there were any deaths. Again, saying not clear if the plane hit any homes or structures, but again, we know it crashed in that neighborhood there. We, of course, are working to get some more information. When we get that, we will pass it along to you. But again, you can see a live police presence there, as you might imagine when something like this happens. Keeping in mind that, you know, this is on Pacific time, so it's very early in the morning there. Our current time is almost 8:47, so 5:47 there now in the morning. Many people probably were asleep when this happened or just getting up to start their day. But we will continue to monitor this and bring you any updates as we get them.
Well, what should have been a joyful day for several couples became a nightmare for many who were looking to tie the knot.
A local wedding photographer is now at the center of a multi-state scandal that spans from Massachusetts to the Carolinas, leaving many couples asking, where's the money? WCNC Charlotte's Tradisha Woodard spoke with brides and grooms left empty-handed.
Well, couples I spoke to say they trusted one person to capture one of the biggest moments of their lives. But instead of memories, they say they were left with lies. No photos, no refunds, and no answers.
One by one, the stories poured in.
We were a victim of a horrible scam.
Different brides.
She blocked my number.
Different states.
I was just irritated. I was like, you know what? I'm done.
But same heartbreak. They all hired the same woman, Courtney Smith, a photographer they believed would capture the most important moments of their lives. A dress, a kiss, a forever, frozen in time. But instead, she vanished.
Because now we don't have a photographer. She has her deposit, and we're kind of starting over at this point.
Now, dozens of couples from various states speaking up to make sure it ends here.
Clearly, she's been doing it to more than one person. Who hasn't spoken up? Who hasn't said anything? The floodgates literally opened. The amount of people that reached out to me was unbelievable.
I also spoke with another photographer who says Smith reached out last minute, asking her to step in and shoot a wedding she couldn't make. She never received full pay for her work.
I was just like, what the heck is happening? What I learned that she does is she'll do a couple weddings under the current name, but then she'll switch it.
I also found various websites with some linking to Charlotte, others in Albemarle. I tried contacting multiple numbers, but none of them worked. I then reached out to the Stanley County Sheriff's Office. They confirmed she did live in the area, reporting at least 11 pending incidents related to wedding scams, the broken promises dating back to 2021.
She's actually a real person that just is irresponsible and just is taking people's money.
Heartbroken couples are now warning others to dig deeper before trusting someone with their money and their memories.
Take who you choose to take your pictures incredibly seriously. You cannot get these memories back, and I would not wish this upon anybody.
The Stanley County Sheriff's Office says the case has now been handed over to the North Carolina SBI. If there's any additional victims out there, they're encouraging you to file a report. Back to you.
This just in, hot off the presses. Your U.S. drought monitor has been updated. It usually does it around this time, right before 9 o'clock. So I want to talk about the most recent changes. Now, compared to what we had 2 weeks ago, significant, because at one point we had about 100% of North Carolina and South Carolina under either an abnormally dry, which is a pre-drought status, or a moderate drought. So this is what we had last week for the update, and notice the change? We're seeing a little less from all that rain that we saw really over the last couple of weeks. So I'll step out of the way and read some of the data. Now, North Carolina, only 43.3% of the state is abnormally dry. That's significant because that's actually down 17%. And for our moderate drought, and that's represented by any of these tan shadings right here, yeah, only 6% of the state is under it. And here's the best part. There is no severe drought in the state of North Carolina. Now still 2% of South Carolina under a severe drought. We also have a good chunk of moderate drought that embraces the shoreline all the way from Charleston up to Myrtle Beach. But it is down 7% for the abnormally or just drought status across South Carolina, Palmetto State. So this is great. Really good improvement, and we need more rain. That's exactly what we're going to see, and that's what I'm going to focus in on, our rainfall chances, and then we'll wrap it up tightly with a bow for our Guy Roofing 7-day forecast. We barely have a rain chance over the next 3 days. At most, it might be a sprinkle in the morning, then you're good. 20% on Sunday could come up a little bit because what happens is we have an unsettled pattern that could give pulses of what's called a short wave. So that's a burst of energy, a smaller scale low pressure system that could give an area of rain. By Monday, it's a good shot. I think you have a chance for rain in the morning. We dry out for a good portion of the day, and then by the end of it into the evening, it's going to rain, especially Monday night and Tuesday morning. Tuesday morning looks to be the wettest by far. Widespread likelihood that we're going to have some of that rainfall, and you can see that for our day and nighttime rain chances. They come up each and every time period where that Monday night to Tuesday for the first half of the day, that's where most of the rain's going to fall. Our Dallas camera showing some upper level clouds. The reason why I'm showing you this here is I was talking earlier, whenever you have a band of clouds like this, it usually shows that some sort of system's coming. This is a cold front. So the cold front's going to pick the winds up for today, and that's it. It's also going to drag in actually some slightly drier air. So even though you have a little bloop popping up here, that's not going to do anything. I'm pretty confident that we're not going to be dealing with any rain for today. But then that rainfall doesn't really creep in until about Sunday morning. So let's start there. Sunday morning, some very light rain showers, but you see a system to the north. I think there's more so going to be rain over in Tennessee, up into Virginia and Kentucky compared to what we have here. But it's still a chance that this starts to cloud things up through your Sunday. Overall cloudier, but especially by the end of the day, we could see some rain. This is significant because we have the Coca-Cola 600. So it's something that we really want to watch. For your Memorial Day, chance for rain, but then look at, we really start to dry things out. Now, these long-range models are really tough to predict because they're so splotchy. Sometimes they'll show the entire state under rain, but when it actually happens, it's just a little sliver. I'm just really showing you the timing, but one thing we can say, we're pretty confident that rain takes over, almost borderline washout status for your morning commute. Widespread rain for several hours to begin the day. Right now, our models are picking up anywhere from about 3/4 to about 1.5 inches of rain for our area. Other ones really starting to average thing out right around that 1 to 2 inch range. So we'll continue to keep you updated once that gets a little bit closer, just letting you know that that's what we have going forward. So for our extended Guy Roofing 7-day forecast, there it is, upper 70s after today, feeling great still. A little bit more humid to start off next week. It's really not until next Wednesday to Thursday that we approach 80 degrees once again. That's your weather report. Now up next, we have Majestic with our traffic report. How's it looking, my friend?
Not looking too bad. We are seeing definitely a lot of congestion out there. 8:53. It is a gorgeous start to our Thursday morning. You can see it here. This is our York County cameras here. All right, I want to show you something that's a little interesting. If you are heading out of town for Memorial Day weekend, according to AAA, they say the best time to leave is anytime between 1 o'clock this afternoon and 5 o'clock tonight. The worst time, actually, that's the worst time. The best time is going to be anytime before noon. You can see a live look outside. That is out towards Lake Norman Hammond, where we did have an actual accident. Right now, though, as we zoom it on in, I want to show you what's going on here. Seeing those backups shaded in red here, it's on I-77 northbound. There's a crash at exit 19B that's out towards I-485 as well, so right where they kind of connect. So we're seeing those backups there. In addition to that, I've been keeping a close eye on Highway 49 out towards Lake Wiley. There was a crash in the inbound lanes at South Tryon Street and Shopton Road, blocking the right-hand lane. So that's where the accident was. And then as we look now, we're actually starting to see some progress. Earlier, it was backed up way over there, but now it's still slow, but we're seeing some progress. So we'll take that. A little closer to Uptown now. If you are out towards the Plaza Midwood area, good morning to you. There is an ongoing accident between the Plaza and Mason Circle, seeing some medium impacts there. And for our Thursday morning drive times, there you go. It's going to take you 55 minutes to get from Waxhaw to Charlotte and 60 if you're coming in from Salisbury.
All right, Majestic, thanks so much. Well, we are going to take a quick break, very short, but we're going to continue streaming on WCNC Plus. We'll come back with another update on weather and traffic on the broadcast line. And then starting at 9, our own Jane Monreal is going to take over from our live Impact News studio. A lot happening this morning, including waiting to hear from Charlotte City Council member Tijuana Brown regarding those federal indictments that she is accused of regarding a PPP loan. In fact, several of them. We are waiting to hear from her. When that news conference happens, we will bring it to you live right here on WCNC Plus.
Good morning, everyone. Let's just start with our 7-day. 82 degrees. Notice how that stands out from all the other days. Today is the warmest and the windiest day that we're going to have. Expecting more clouds to really increase from right now until the early afternoon. Peak winds about 1 to 7 o'clock. By tomorrow, Saturday, upper 70s. We're also looking at an increased chance for rain on Sunday. I think the highest likelihood that we see rain is really the end of your Memorial Day, Monday night into Tuesday. But the best feel that we have to the atmospheres over the next few days, feeling really spring-like, super dry. Majestic?
Those area roads are going to get really busy over the next few days because of our Memorial Day weekend travel. According to AAA, the worst time to travel will be between 1 o'clock and 5 o'clock today. The best time will be any time before noon. There's a live look outside I-77. It is a gorgeous start to our Thursday, but it is a busy one as well across those area roads. Heading northbound I-77, there is an accident there at exit 19B where you hit I-485. Take it easy.